Yeah, we need them. We need those strategies for living. So are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
I am ready.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm buckled up and warmed up, ready to go.
I am glad to hear it. Folks, I hope you are too. Welcome. Welcome into 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, and welcome into this edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan, and she is psychotherapist, PLPC Lauren Leon McMillan. You know what I want to talk about today?
What do you want to talk about today?
I want to talk about a paradox.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper and Dr. Tish. No.
Right.
I want to talk about a different kind of paradox. What do a lot of people say, Lauren, when they're trying to encourage someone who is facing a challenge? You know, oftentimes...
You can do it?
Something along that line. Be strong. You can do it. Be strong. And, you know, the paradox is, here's the deal. What if they said, when you're facing a challenge, what if they said, be weak, be vulnerable? And I would say, now that's good advice.
It is.
That's very good advice.
You're so right.
Because our most significant moments of growth tend to come when we're willing to be the first to step out there and be vulnerable.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
In fact, I'd read a recent article in Psychology Today by Atai Ipsen, Dr. Atai Ipsen. He writes a column called Mindfulness for Well-Being. And the title of this article is, You Don't Need to Be Strong to Face Challenges, because being strong is not really a healthy coping mechanism.
No, it's not.
Now, but that goes counter. Some people would have a hard time wrapping their minds around that, right?
That is against what we might call conventional wisdom.
Yeah.
And yet I think it is conventional wisdom that brings us home more often than not.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And, maybe we need a little more of this kind of wisdom. Maybe it needs to be a little more conventional than it is. Well, we're going to unpack that today here on Strategies for Living.
I like that. Sounds good.
Yeah, we're going to unpack the fact that being strong is not really a healthy coping mechanism. So what is? We're going to look at some strategies, because after all, we're Strategies for Living. So we're going to look at some strategies instead of riding in and being John Wayne in every instance. And, we're going to talk about what are healthy coping mechanisms to face when you face challenges. All of that today is what we are going to try to do on Strategies for Living. And folks, we appreciate you being a part of it. And we appreciate our sponsors making it all possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Learning RX and Pintail Roofing. And Hempress Cannabis with Love and the Shreveport Little Theater. You don't need to be strong to face challenges. We're talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. Come back and join us. You know, it's been going on for 101 years now. I'm talking about the Shreveport Little Theater. Been enriching our lives through the performing arts and education and opportunities to volunteer service guided by professional artists. They've been at it a long time. And up next, beautiful, the Carole King musical is the summer musical this year. And have you seen the 24-25 season? My goodness. Neil Simon's Brighton Beach memoirs, Steel Magnolias, It's a Wonderful Life, Doubt, I Love You, You're Perfect Now, Change, and then May We All, a new country musical. You know, you need to get your season tickets right now. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. It is American theater at its best at 812 Margaret Place in Shreveport. Shreveport Little Theater. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. And welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. Lauren, I think that, when people encourage us to be strong when we're facing challenges, I mean, they mean well, right?
Absolutely. They do.
They mean well, but we're asking that we kind of rethink that today here on Strategies for Living. We're talking about, maybe we don't need to be strong to face challenges, and maybe even being strong isn't even a healthy coping mechanism. So the idea here is when we become vulnerable, to be strong, becoming weak to be strong. That's a paradox,
Yeah, and yet we see it so often in our connections in nature in our lives, right?
Sure.
I mean, I don't connect with you with your walls up and your toughness, right?
Yeah.
I connect with you when I see that you're human like me.
Yeah. When I'm willing to show vulnerability.
Yeah.
When I'm willing to, and another word for vulnerability would be openness, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I like also the other word that you used in the intro, which was stretching, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you think about it, when you stretch a string or you stretch something, it often initially becomes weak, right?
Yeah.
And yet I'm also thinking if you've got a rubber band and you stretch it, it becomes weak, but then it propels you forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It also has me thinking because, I've started, I guess, a semi-new hobby of gardening, right?
Right.
I don't know how old I am that I've started a garden, but let's not go there.
Okay. we won't.
So I've got, of course, I'm Italian, so I've got guguzza, which is the Italian squash growing out there, right?
Yeah.
And it's really been a fascinating process to watch.
It really has.
Because
I'm just an observer, and it's been fascinating for me.
Or to watch me watch it, or to watch it?
Both, yeah.
No, but it's a climbing plant, right?
Right.
And so it's like overnight, it'll grow these what is called tendrils, which, by the way, tend is the same. It's a root. The root of tend means to stretch.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I can come back to this, but it's.
But these tendrils, they're fascinating to look at. They're fascinating to watch what they do.
Well, what they do is they like reach out, and they're real thin, and they'll grab on to, I've got a nice trellis out there for them to climb up. They'll grab on to the trellis, and overnight that tendril will spiral around itself such that it will, it grabs onto where it needs to grab onto.
Right.
And the analogy I'm using here is that in that stretching, the plant is actually very weak.
Yeah.
Because it's opening itself up to all of, the wind, the rain, the sun.
All of it,
the lawnmower, that weak little tendril. And yet it is in that stretching and that grabbing then that it makes a connection.
Right.
That helps it to grow.
Yes.
And become stronger.
And when we look at it, our most significant moments of growth tend to come when we're willing to be the first ones to be vulnerable. When I face my weaknesses, I probably need a dose of humility when I'm doing this. But when I do that, it allows me to see, hey, I can grow. I have room.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's not until you open yourself and allow that to happen until you can really know how far you can grow.
And it allows me to ask myself a critical question. And the critical question is, what do I want to put into this room that I now see that I have open, right?
Right.
And I think that's a critical question. And like I said, people mean well when they encourage us they know we're facing a challenge and they tell us, be strong,
Which, by the way, strong, the etymology of the word strong, right? Yeah. It actually roots back to strong means tight or narrow.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's not a lot of room there, right? When you're strong, when you're tight, you don't leave any room for growth or
Yeah.
newness.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll try to make this connection here, but we say that cats have 9 lives, right?
Yes.
And one of the other things we say is cats can fall from long distances
Yes.
and still be okay, right? Well, why is that? I mean, think about this for a second.
They don't tighten up,
Because
I can tell you that.
That's it. That's it. If they were to tighten up,
They could break every
they
bone
break
in their
every bone
body.
in their body. But the fact is, if a cat jumps out off of a roof or out of a tall tree, when it jumps, for some reason, it stays loose.
Right.
It stays open, if you will.
For natural growth and development and survival.
Yeah.
It's learned to do that.
Yeah.
That's what they tell you if you are impending an accident in the car, right? If you see it coming and there's no way to avoid it, the best thing that you can do is to go loose, to go limp.
Yeah.
And it's not our natural inclination.
No, we really have to learn. We have to learn to do it. Imagine that our emotions are like a river, okay?
Okay.
And so my desire to be strong is a dam. It's a dam that I build to control the flow of complex feelings.
Yeah.
And so, if you're looking at me, everything seems fine. People see me pushing forward and moving through life, and they might say, "Oh, well, look, I really admire what I see there," and it does feel good when people notice our strength, right?
Yeah, on
That
the
feels good.
surface.
But here's the deal: the river doesn't stop flowing unless you keep building that dam higher, and eventually it's going to overflow.
Well, I'll be damned.
Yeah, I'll be damned. So what happens is what happens is it's going to become unpredictable, and no one can keep the blockage in place forever. Right.
And that's what we see happening. It comes out in really odd places, but it's
yeah.
got to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. And if we build the dam and we keep building on it, we keep what's going to happen eventually? Eventually that dam's going to crumble.
Yeah.
It's going to burst, it's going to crumble. And it usually happens when we do that, internally. It's usually going to happen when we actually in reality with dams, dams break when we least expect it, and it's not usually a convenient time, but that's exactly what happens emotionally too. So, here's the deal. Instead of resisting weak moments, maybe we should embrace them.
Absolutely. How much can we lean into that? Because it's only through the cracks. I think I've said it on here before, but I think it's worth saying again. It's one of my favorite ideas, and I won't get the quote exactly right, but it's John Green, if you want to look it up.
Right.
But it's the idea that only if we're in these tight vessels, right? These tight vessels, only when I get these little cracks in me,
right.
and you get cracks in you. It's only then that the light that's kept tight within the vessel can shine through, and we can see through to each other's divine light. Is through the cracking in the vessel.
Right.
And we see that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't connect with people, on the surface because they're strong and they keep everything in.
Right.
No, when you connect with people, you connect with them on a human to human level.
Right, which is to get vulnerable.
Which is why we value the underdog and the story.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, we want to get real. We want to get vulnerable, which means we're going to go inside. We're going to go in, right?
Right.
And when I embrace weakness, I can feel peace. I can sense love. So instead of resisting weak moments, if we embrace them, those moments can be challenging, but the important thing is to understand Yeah, and what I have to get past are things like embarrassment and shame.
Yeah.
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 To be able to do what we're talking about doing today.
Yeah. And you get through that with compassion. It starts with self-compassion. And I like the word that you used, which was embrace. Right? I mean, because if we continue, what you resist persists.
Right.
Right? So what you continue to resist as your quote-unquote weakness, it will continue. And it will only get stronger and louder, just like the dam.
Right.
Right? And it's only through our acknowledgement, our acceptance of, man, that's kind of a weak point in me. I need to get better at that. I would like to get better at that. It is only then that you can begin to grow from there.
Yeah. So when I make an effort to stay strong, if you will, I may be denying, and when I tell others to stay strong, I may be denying my own or their feelings that their hearts or my heart long to experience under the whatever circumstances, challenging circumstances I'm under.
Well, you're invalidating the feelings that are under the surface there.
Yeah, yeah. And we want to be very careful to do that.
Right. I mean, because that's all any of us wants or needs is to be heard, felt, and understood.
Yes.
Which is love.
Yeah, and that includes with ourselves.
It starts
with ourselves. John Gray, who wrote the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, after he wrote that book, he wrote a book, and I love the title of this book because it's so true. If you can feel it, you can heal it. And I've always remembered, I'm not really a fan of the Mars and Venus book that Dr. Gray wrote, but I'm very much a fan of, if you can feel it, you can heal it.
Right.
We're talking about, you don't need to stay strong. You don't need to be strong to face challenges. I know it's a paradox, but actually, if we're willing to be weak, if we're willing to, that's weak with air quotes, right?
Yeah.
If we're willing to be weak with air quotes.
To loosen.
To be vulnerable, it can really be an avenue of growth and opening. We're talking about that today here on Strategies for Living, and we've got more, so stay right where you are. Hey, let's talk about the Robinson Film Center, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. How many times do I say there is no place like Robinson Film Center?
You don't say it enough.
Well, no, I probably don't. And there is no place like the Robinson Film Center. I mean, where do you go to see current movies that you're not going to see anyplace else? Well, Robinson Film Center. Find out what's showing at robinsonfilmcenter.org. And then you've got Abby Singer's Bistro, right? Full-service bistro and bar, second floor of the Robinson.
That's what I can't get enough of.
Oh, man. So, here's what you want to do. You want to join the crowd, join the fun, become a member. You get discounts on movies, you get concession upgrades, you get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. RobinsonFilmCenter.org.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donisa Walker with LearningRx Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, LearningRx Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call LearningRx Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does LearningRx Shreveport.
And welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. We're talking about, you don't need to be strong to face challenges. We all face them. And, I think, it's oftentimes we tell ourselves, I need to be strong. Or we tell others, just be strong.
Be strong.
Yeah, but maybe we need to tell them something opposite of that. Maybe we need to say to ourselves and
it's okay.
Say to other people, hey, lean into it. Be vulnerable, and because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn in vulnerability.
Absolutely.
So everything changes, Lauren, when we allow weakness to become beautiful. And again, I warned you, we're talking paradox today, right? and that's not, this is not usually the way we think. We don't usually think of weakness as being a beautiful thing. But I want you to think about something. The very strongest bonds that you're going to see between people are the ones that get forged when they're both willing to embrace their weaknesses and vulnerability with one another.
When you're willing to let your guard down, let the walls down, let the stories of the ego fall so that you can recognize the wholeness in each of you.
Yeah.
And again, this is just my etymology, my word nerd self coming out, right? And I mentioned at the beginning that strong roots back to narrow, right? Or tight. And so I had to look up weak as well, right?
Right.
And this is truly beautiful because weak roots back to, it roots back to the Dutch, meaning soft or tender. And the pi root, which means the Proto-Indo-European root, the actual root that it came from.
The
original.
root. The real root.
Yeah.
Down to the root.
The root of weak means simply to bend.
Now, see, that's fascinating when you look at that. That's beautiful when you look at that. And when you think, oh, well, that's how we got here.
That's absolutely how we got here, because it means to be able to be soft and to bend.
Yeah.
To bend and to wind.
I mean, haven't we all had experiences where we forge friendships or we get closer to somebody? It could be in any setting. It could be in a work setting. It could be in a foxhole. It could be wherever, right? But when two people forge, a willingness to embrace our weakness, our vulnerable states, those become very, very strong bonds. And what happens there? What really happens there? Well, if you're I'm going to just pick on the foxhole. If you're in a foxhole and you're getting shot at from all sides and you're in there with somebody else, there is no reason not to be honest. I mean, think about it, because it's this could be it.
More honest conversations.
Yeah, happen, in those foxholes, right? Because, what have we got left, right? I mean, the end is likely near. So let's just get honest with each other. Let me be honest with you. Let me tell you, let me bare my soul to you, right? And so what am I doing when I do that? I'm getting transparent. And transparency really is, and again, I have to, it probably can happen in an instant within myself, but then if I share it with somebody else, transparency, what does that mean? I mean, we don't have really transparent lakes in Louisiana, but if you go to Arkansas, a lot of those lakes are very transparent.
Right.
You see straight to the bottom, right? And that's a metaphor, I think, for what happens. We can get straight to the bottom. We can get down deep, right? And see what's down there.
Yeah.
And share it. Yeah. And so, when you have moments like that have honesty and transparency.
Well, and what happens in those moments is we're authentic.
Yes.
We're allowing ourselves to be fully who we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which is love.
It is.
Which is love.
Well, and I think authenticity at its heart is unconditional love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just my ideology, but I think that rings true. Because, as you say, it's in those moments of authenticity that we can truly be there for each other and see each other and validate each other's wholeness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But it's scary.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is why people may be hearing us and they say, well, you're making sense, but this is scary stuff.
It is scary, and I'll remind you of a reframe if you see scared differently.
Yeah.
Right? If you see the letter C, take the letter C in scared.
Yeah.
And you move it one spot to the right.
Yeah.
It becomes
sacred. Yeah.
And so if you can begin to see you're scared differently.
Yeah.
See scared as an opportunity to move towards, to see the sacred, to see the wholeness in you, to bring it to light. And that's what we're ultimately doing when we're sharing our weaknesses with ourselves and with each other.
Yeah.
We're shedding light and bringing the quote unquote weaknesses, right? Those bendy parts of us into the light of our wholeness.
Yeah.
And recognizing that we need them in their wholeness to be our wholeness.
Absolutely. And I mean, and it is scary. It is scary to depend on somebody else to show up for us when we're in a weak moment. Absolutely it is. But we were talking about earlier building dams, right? Mm-hmm. So when I build a dam to be strong, what am I doing? I'm denying everybody else an opportunity to show up for me, to be there for me, because I'm damming that up. Damn it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. You're blocking.
Yeah, I'm blocking. I mean, that's what a dam is, right?
And we do that in some pretty sneaky ways.
What do you mean? What do you mean we do it in sneaky ways?
Well, each moment, I mean, the only thing that's constant is change. Right. And
some of us don't want to embrace that. Some of us don't want to admit that.
I understand. But whether we like it or not, we're constantly changing. And hopefully, on some level, we're growing and evolving. And so one of the sneaky ways that we will dam ourselves up to seeing other people, is by placing the past version of a person on themselves as they appear to me today.
Right.
Okay. So assuming that, well, Carol used to like this, and so I'm going to assume that she still likes it, right?
Right.
And maybe she's grown and she's changed and she doesn't like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, possible.
And so you're damming a connection there by making that assumption and acting on it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the sneaky ways that we dam.
Yeah.
We dam each other to experiencing the present moment by bringing anything from the past into the present, or worrying about the future and bringing that into the present too.
Yeah.
That's another way that we dam it.
One of the things that therapy types do is we talk about reframing.
Yes.
We talk about reframing something, and I guess in a sense, what we're doing is we're reframing weakness today.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever had the experience where you've had an old picture up on the wall, and it just doesn't, it's old and cracked, but it's not an antique. It's not something that, it just looks bad up on the wall. Yeah. But you want to keep whatever's inside.
The picture is good.
You take it down and you take it to the frame shop, and they put a new frame around it.
Mm-hmm.
They do what the frame shops do, and they put a new
maybe a mat
around
fancy
it
too. Yeah.
And matting and framing, and all of a sudden it looks very different.
Yeah, it's a brand new
it
object.
looks brand new. It's the same old, but it looks new. That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're doing here with the word weakness. We're putting a different frame around it, and so, people might say, well, yeah, I hear you guys, but if I allow myself to show and share my weak moments, my weakest moments, I could get hurt. And you know what I say to that?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
You
can, of course, because hurt people sometimes hurt others. But freed people help free others.
And healed people help heal others.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
I can't help but think we had, even in, I know we don't talk about it much, but even in the politics, we've had two fairly good examples of this recently from both candidates.
Yeah, we really have.
Well,
yeah.
One's not a candidate anymore.
Yeah.
But, we saw...
Recent candidates.
Right.
Yeah.
We saw Joe Biden's weakness in the debate, right?
Yeah, we did.
And
front and center.
Right. And we saw recently Trump's weakness in the assassination attempt, right?
He's a human,
and then his talk about what his experience of that was like, right?
Yeah, he got vulnerable for the first 30 minutes of his speech. Yeah,
right.
A lot of people loved that.
Exactly. I mean, it's through moments like that where we can connect and see the humanity.
Yes.
And that's what, I may be a little biased, but I truly believe that's what we need more of in this world. That's what we're after.
Yeah.
Is to be more human so we can be whole.
All right. So, but here's the question.
Okay.
Can I get hurt by allowing myself to show and share my weakest moments? Yes, of course you can. But, I still see the benefit in this. So how do I do it? What are we are strategies for living, right?
Oh, yeah. I think we are.
So if we're going to buy into this, if we're going to do this, then what are the strategies? How can I do this? And it turns out we can do it with just implementing a few simple steps. And those are the strategies. Since we're strategies for living, we'll come back and talk about those.
Let's do it.
We're talking about the paradox today of, you don't need to be strong to face challenges. In fact, you might be better off loosening up, even being weak, vulnerable. Talking about it today here on Strategies for Living. We're coming back.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
And welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan talking about this evening. You don't need to be strong to face challenges. In fact, it's a paradox, but, in spite of what people tell us, be strong, our most significant moments of growth come when we're willing to be one of the first ones to be vulnerable.
And perhaps our greatest strength
Yeah.
lies in our weakness.
Again, it's paradoxical, and it really stretches you. It makes you think, but I think it's worth stretching. I think it's worth thinking about.
Absolutely.
Okay, but what are the strategies?
Okay, how do I do this? How do I loosen up? How do I let go?
Yeah, and especially in our world today. I mean, let's get real. We live in an uptight world. And the world, invites us.
Yes, it does.
To be...
You better put up those walls. You better bar up.
Yep, yep. So,
toughen up.
In all of that, how in the world, you're going to give us strategies to do what you're talking about? Well, we wouldn't be strategies for living if we didn't. Okay, one strategy is to allow yourself to feel, what emotions am I really experiencing? And can I tell myself it doesn't matter what it is? It could be anxious, it could be sad, it could be angry, it could be anything. But, what do we always say? Feelings aren't right, feelings aren't wrong, they're just feelings. So it doesn't matter what the feeling or emotion is. I need to tell myself, the strategy is I tell myself it's okay to feel blank, fill in the blank, whatever that is that you're feeling.
Or, I love you when you're angry. I love you when you're jealous. I love you when you're cruel, even, perhaps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because it's through that unconditional love that we bring it into being, into wholeness. And this one is so important and it's a most crucial and can be a big jump for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's the best big jump you'll ever take, if I do say so myself.
Now,
to be able to to be able to be with your feelings,
to be with your vulnerable within yourself, vulnerable to yourself.
Because so many of us grew up being, chastised or told to bottle that up, to be strong, toughen up,
Get
don't
tough,
cry.
boy.
Why are you crying?
Yeah.
So it's a big hurdle, but that's the most important one to jump over.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I like that strategy.
All right. Another strategy is, again, it's the way you treat yourself. So treat yourself with kindness and understanding.
Try a little kindness.
Cut yourself some slack. So what sponsors, and we talk about this a lot, Lauren, on strategies, what sponsors every relationship that I'm in? It's my relationship with myself.
Yeah.
So I want to treat others with understanding and kindness.
Right.
I need to, and this is the strategy, I need to always treat myself with understanding and kindness.
Try a little kindness.
Yeah. It's an important strategy.
It is so important. And I think a lot of us get locked up here as well. Again, because of that societal be strong narrative. Yeah. Right? The societal you can't feel, or you shouldn't feel, or XYZ.
Yeah. Yep. There are times, and probably more often than we take advantage of, that we might need some help unpacking what we feel.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah,
And
especially if we've dammed it up for a long time.
Yeah, and so I'm going to make an overarching statement. I think more often this may be a challenge for men than women. Okay. Although I realize I'm making an overarching statement. It's not always. Yeah. But here's where I'm going. It's okay to talk to somebody about how you're feeling, and help let somebody else help you unpack. This could be a trusted friend. It could be a trusted family member. This could also be a mental health professional,
minister. Yeah.
It could be anybody. But it's important that you feel safe with that person, and that you trust that person, right?
Right.
And I think that is a viable strategy. Talk it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm confused, maybe I know exactly what I'm feeling. Maybe I'm inside I'm like the Arkansas lakes. I can see right to the bottom. But very often that's not the case.
No, and especially not if you've been shoving them down for a long time. They get entangled. Yeah. And part of talking it out or writing it out, right, can help you to really look and see and separate things out, and get to the bottom of what it is you're feeling, so you can deal and heal.
Now, yes, we are, we're body, mind, and spirit, right? So we've kind of touched on the mind. We've kind of touched a little bit, I think we always do, on the spiritual. But let's not forget the physical part of this. Okay. So when we're going through challenges, especially when we're going through challenges, really focus on, am I eating well? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I exercising enough? During those points of physical, of challenge, if you will, taking care of our physical well-being can be an enormous plus.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can't, in this world where we can't control a whole lot, food, what we eat, how we sleep, those are things that we can control. And maybe even for some people who struggle with sleep, really food is a really great way to start, a great place to start. You can control the nutrients that you're taking in.
Right.
And how well you're feeding yourself.
When you're going through challenging times, ask yourself, what brings me joy? What makes me feel good? What activities can I do? Even if it's just a timeout type thing.
Yeah.
Let me go do those, right? That's a viable strategy when you're going through challenges. I'll also challenge you to us all to do this. Designate a place, a space. It could be in your home. If you can do it at work, do it at work. Designate a space where you can feel safe and calm. And let that place be kind of sacred. Put items in there that bring you comfort. Might be a cozy blanket, might be a favorite book, might be calming music, but fill that space.
Build a sanctuary for yourself.
There you go. And even if you can just, get away from
where you can be fully you.
Yeah, even if for just a little while.
And the more practice you have at being fully you, the more better you get.
Absolutely. Those are some viable strategies. You can use one or some combination of them or all of them. But those are strategies to get to the place of when we're challenged, instead of be strong, stay loose.
How can you lean in and move through with grace and compassion and kindness for yourself first and foremost, and others.
And we'll be back. More strategies for living to come. You're going to see the difference. When you go to Azalea Cleaners, you'll hear about it too. Azalea Cleaners has been fine dry cleaning since 1958, plus laundry, alterations and repairs, comforters, wedding gown cleaning and restoration. You'll hear about it from your friends because they'll see it too. They'll notice the Azalea difference. Azalea is convenient. 732 Azalea Drive, 9220 Ellerby Road, and 9227 Mansfield Road. Plus, the front door of your home or business with Azalea's delivery on demand. Just text SETUP to 249-8283, and Azalea will pick up your clothes and deliver them back clean and fresh to you. You can't get closer than that. That's the Azalea difference. You'll notice it right away. Others will too. The Azalea difference. Fine dry cleaning since 1958. Text SETUP to 249-8283 and get the Azalea difference. AzaleaCleaners.com. And welcome back into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, talking about the paradox today of sometimes we need to, when we're challenged the most, instead of being strong, embrace your weakness. If somebody's done this, if somebody's embraced their weakness and feels free, they can illuminate that journey for other people. You touched on this earlier, Lauren.
Yeah.
You can, what did you say? Healed people. Heal people.
Heal people. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You shine the way. I mean, it truly is. To kind of go off of Jung's shadow work, it's making the darkness light. And in doing so, you become that light. You embody the light for others to see.
Yes.
And you begin to help them see their own light within.
And that is healing. Of course, it's tempting to be strong. It's tempting to build those dams.
And those dams block light.
But they're not gonna do it for you long term. Instead, allow love to flow freely while embracing your weakness. That's the only way to really move through and grow. And so there you go.
How can you soften into the experience of life?
Yeah.
And let it take you where it needs to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So, we're all like that cat. Sometimes we get up into those trees and we got to fall. If we're tight, we're going to break some stuff.
Right.
But if we're loose, if we stay loose, we want to be like that cat. We want to have those quote unquote
Help me out.
9 lives, right?
Yeah, help me out.
Folks, thank you. Thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living. We appreciate you being here with us as always. And we appreciate our sponsors, our wonderful sponsors that make it possible. The Robinson Film Center and Azalea Cleaners and Learning RX and Pintail Roofing and Hempress Cannabis with Love and the Shreveport Little Theater. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call to make, who is it that you'd call? And what is it that you'd say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time here on Strategies for Living.